Hello, people. Today we're doing a ranking of the 10 Best Picture nominees for the 2022 Oscars. I was pretty excited to do this ranking this year because I do it every year, and this year we have 10 nominees. So I'll be doing a top 10, kinda, but even though there's only 10. But, yeah, I wanted to get out of the way that the first year I started doing Oscar coverage was like the worst year possible to start Oscar coverage, and that was started with the 2020 Oscars, where we had the 2019 films, and that was such an exciting year for the Academy. We had so many, some of my favorite movies of all time are in the 2019 films and the 2020 Oscars. It's still confuse myself when I talk about that. We had Joker, Parasite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Marriage Story, all like 5-star films to me. And this year we have one 5-star film in this list. So I didn't even think we had a 5-star film in last year's list for Best Picture nominations. So I'm starting to realize that most award seasons are a lot calmer than what I've been seeing lately, unless if the last 2 years award seasons have been weirdly calm. But yeah, anyways, the 10 nominees, I'm gonna get out of the way that I like all 10 of these movies. I don't think there's a single bad one. Do I think every single one of them is a Best Picture film? No, I don't. But some of those movies I don't think is a Best Picture film. I have higher than some movies that I have on this, than some I would say is a Best Picture film. So this is strictly my ranking, my personal opinion. And yeah, coming into number 10 is Licorice Pizza. That's the thing about Licorice Pizza. To me, it depends on how you feel about the title. I like quirky, but I was unsure. And that's kind of how I feel about this movie. It was quirky and I liked that, but I'm still just kind of unsure about it. I know it was a really good movie, but the movie's so divided up into these segments. It's like the movie's just not necessarily, of course the story is about the character dynamics over like an actual story, but it was really like these parts of the film were so different from the last. It really felt like I was watching a bunch of short films or a bunch of episodes piled together, and some I liked a lot more than others. And I'm not saying that's a bad idea for a movie. It's just, to me, there's a scene with Bradley Cooper, which is like my favorite. There's some scenes that I also think are really good. But then there's a lot of scenes in between where I'm just kind of like meh on it. Some things I thought went slow. It really felt like I was watching a reenactment of other movies shown in one movie, and I was picked to choose which one I like the most, and for me is the Bradley Cooper bit. It's weird because it's a good film overall. It's just, I kind of find myself like, I want to watch it again, but I feel like I just want to watch that one scene again, or this one scene. Now, well, as a whole, it's just like, I guess it's good, you know. Coming in at number 9 is Belfast. Belfast is a good movie. I don't think it's a terrible movie, and do I think it's like a Best Picture contender? I really don't, but I thought it was, from beginning to end, a good film. I thought some of the sound mixing was okay at moments. I thought some of the shots and cinematography were good, and yeah, I just don't think the characters were particularly memorable or characters I really want to go back to it. It's not a movie I really think I need to watch again. It's just, it kind of lacked a little bit of substance when it comes to the emotional department. I will admit that the last line of the movie really got me, but as a whole, the story didn't really do much for me, and I just wish that Belfast did a lot more for me, because I like, you know, family films in a time period and stuff like that. I could easily fall for a movie like that, but Belfast was just a good movie, felt a little Oscar baity, and I also think this is going to win Best Original Screenplay next week. But I will do my predictions video real soon. I'm probably going to record it right after this. But Belfast, it's a good movie. It's a meh Oscar movie to me, if that makes sense. Coming in at number 8 is, I'm sorry, West Side Story. I like this movie. It's a very, very well-directed movie. Very well-directed. The cinematography is great. Everything behind the scenes is just almost perfect. And this movie also has its drawbacks for me. I'm not the biggest musical person. I love Tick, Tick, Boom. I like Tick, Tick, Boom more than I like West Side Story. I thought In the Heights was really good as well. But the storyline in this one particularly was probably my least favorite of those these three musicals I saw this year. Because, and I know that's not this movie's fault because it has to stay faithful. It's just the storyline I wasn't in love with. It's a good movie, very well made movie, just wasn't in love with the story time. Filmmaking, I was in awe the whole time. I'm like, Steven Spielberg, you're a genius. And honestly, I'll be fine with him winning Best Director for this movie if he won. He's not going to win, but I'd be fine with him winning this award, even though I don't love the movie. And I do think, as a whole, it's a great movie with a script that doesn't work for me. There's other people that can completely work with this script, and I'm not going to argue with it because I agree that overall it's a good script for what it's adapting. It's just what it's adapting I'm just not in love with. So yeah, coming in at number 7 is King Richard. The performances of this movie is what holds it so high, because if this movie did not have the performances that it did, this movie would be just good, not great. But I would say that, go on my way to say that this is a great movie because Will Smith put everything into this role. Everything. Best actor this year, the category is absolutely stacked. We have so many good performances in the best actor category this year. And so but Will Smith embodied the role. I knew his performance was good, but there were still moments where I was impressed. But I feel like the underdog of this film is Angelina Ellis is so good in the movie. She's my personal pick for who I think should win the Oscar. It's not going to happen, but she is so good in this movie. The story overall is really strong, and it's lengthy, but I really felt like the length was earned. I thought the ending felt a little typical and corny, but it has to say truthful to what happened, but I felt like they could have found a little bit more of an original way to, like, wrap it up in a more, like, that's very memorable. Because the story as a whole was fine. I thought some of it felt a little bland, but what held this movie so much, did so much heavy lifting for me even to call this a great film, is Will Smith and Angelina Ellis. And you know what, the whole cast did a phenomenal job. And it really is, you could feel the passion put in. It's a passion project, you can tell. And production design, once you watch the clips after the movie that they show, you're shocked by how spot on it was made to be that accurate. Coming in at number 6 is Power of the Dog. When I first watched this movie, I thought this movie would be near the bottom of my list, but then I watched it again, and now I'm realizing I want to watch it one more time, because each time you pick up a little bit something different, you get something a little different out of it. Even from the first line of the movie, the second time I watched it, I was like, oh crap. I was like, you pick up on little details. That's why Jane Campion is probably going to win Best Director for this movie. She really knew what she understood the assignment. Benedict Cumberbatch. Oh my God. He gave a career-defining performance in this movie. I did not see Benedict Cumberbatch the same after watching him in this movie. Cody Smith-McPhee was great in this movie. Kirsten Dunst was great. Jesse Plemons was great. The whole cast did a great job. And there's a lot of, like, little moments that are implied. And the thing that just doesn't put it above these other movies is that sometimes you can feel the pacing. But it oddly went by faster the second time I watched it. So I don't know, upon another rewatch, it can go higher. I feel like it could be one of those movies that just slowly ticks up my list the more I see it. But it's a very, very well-made movie. Cinematography is beautiful. Costumes are great. And I really want to watch this one again. The more I talk about it, I'm like, maybe I just need to watch it again. And, you got something there. It's just the pacing can be a little draggy at sometimes, particularly in the first half. The second half goes by a lot faster for me. And, yeah. Anyways, coming in at number 5 is Nightmare Alley. I know. I have this movie higher than most people, but who cares? I like this movie quite a bit. I think the cast did a great job. I thought the screenplay was good. I thought the whole movie was just great overall. And I'm honestly think to me, this is the best picture movie. I'm sorry. I know some people thought it was too long, but I didn't feel the runtime that much. I felt it at moments, but it didn't feel any more off than any other Oscar film to me, or like awards contender that felt like, it's dragging. Like, Nightmare Alley drug at moments just as much as, like, Power of the Dog did. The difference between Nightmare Alley and Power of the Dog is I connected with the characters a little bit more in this movie. Particularly since Bradley Cooper also gave a really good performance, he wasn't nominated for Best Actor, and I can honestly maybe get behind him not being nominated because the actor category this year is just that stacked, but he did give a great leading performance. And if he did get nominated, we all know the Oscar clip would be his very last scene of the movie. But I really like the moral and message of the movie. The production design is flawless. And overall, I thought I was fairly gripped by it, and it was a little unpredictable. So I really enjoyed Nightmare Alley more than most people, and I hope maybe people give this one a second chance. I hope this one is going to be looked upon in a couple of years and like, it wasn't that bad. And no one called this movie bad. It's just, I don't think it lived up to a lot of people's expectations, but I had no expectations, and I really liked it. So coming in at number 4 is a lot of people, please don't get mad at me. Please don't look up. I like this movie. I like Adam McKay. I like the cast. And believe it or not, part of me kind of respects the editing. The editing is overdone. It's in your face, and it's very, like, that was a little much. But that's what I kind of have respect for it for. I really like that they just kind of went for it, you know? The movie's long, but I'm just kind of glad that they just went for the wrong one time. I watched this movie 3 times. I've seen this movie 3 times, and I have so much fun with it. The comedy is just, it's my kind of humor. The commentary is funny to me, and I'm not afraid to say that I agree with the commentary. I think it's such a impactful yet light film at the same time, where you're able to sit back and watch it and just have a really fun time while you're doing that, while knowing that you're watching something a little bit of substance, and maybe people, to me, I think, are kind of trying behind the scenes. They're trying to do something different. It doesn't click with everyone. It clicks with me. And I really like Don't Look Up, and I wish people weren't looking down on it as much as they were, because I really think that there's something to this movie. Like, some people are treating it like if a Marvel movie got nominated for Best Picture, but it's not that. To me, there's a lot more to it that people just kind of refuse to kind of maybe look at, maybe because it's a comedy. I'm not sure. Coming in at number 3 is Coda. I watched this movie a couple months ago, and a couple months ago, I would have put this right below Don't Look Up. I'm going to go ahead and put it right above Don't Look Up, because this movie might be one of the most emotionally resonant films of 2021. It completely delivers, and from a character standpoint, from an audience standpoint, it really just delivered as a whole, and the performances were great. You know, Troy Kusher's probably getting that Oscar, but Emilia Jones is great in the lead. Who else is in this movie? Because I'm sorry, I don't remember the names. It's just Marley Matlin, great as the mother. The band teacher, the course teacher, Bernardo. I'm not gonna try that last name. I don't want to be offensive, but the whole cast as a whole just did a really good job. And it took that, like, high school feel, but didn't make it corny, it didn't make it really cringy. It kind of kept a really good tone to it, while it didn't feel like it was trying too hard. It felt like it was well written for the age that it's writing. And there's a lot of really good writing in this film. And the only thing that's not, honestly, does not make this movie the number 1, the only thing that stops this movie from being like a 5 out of 5 for me, is simply that the filmmaking just isn't up to par to some of these other movies. And to me, filmmaking and emotion is 2 things that can be juggled. That's why this movie is this high. There's nothing like amazing going on with the cinematography in Coda, and there's not like any like that was really well directed, but it really delivered from an emotional standpoint, from a character standpoint, and to the point where it's one of the more enjoyable movies on this list. Coming in at number 2, movie I didn't expect to put this at number 2, just by hearing the pitch of it, and I'm sorry, Drive My Car. The second I heard that when I was watching the nominations, there's still one Best Picture nominee I hadn't seen, that is a 3-hour movie that's not like really, you know, it's a 3-hour awards contender movie in Korean, I believe. I was just like, oh my god, this is gonna be like reading a book. But I watched this movie, and I was like, that was like reading a fantastic book, because Drive My Car was so good. And I watched this movie in parts. Not because I got bored with it. I never got bored with the movie. I watched this in parts just because when I was watching it, I was just busy. I couldn't watch a 3-hour movie all in one sitting at the time because I was busy. I was tired. I could have sat through it. It's just I got tired at moments. What can I say? So turned it off, continued the next day, and I took about 3 days for me to watch it from beginning to end, so an hour each day. And I don't know if me watching it in parts helped my viewing experience or if it degraded my viewing experience. I don't know how I would have felt watching it as a whole. I want to watch it as a whole from beginning to end once I find the time to do so. But Drive My Car just hit so many really good emotional levels. And the writing. The writing is so good. I want this to win screenplay. Was it? I don't remember if it was nominated for adapted. I think it was. If it was, I think it'd be adapted. But I want it to win. If it's, I don't think it will. But if it was nominated, I really hope it would win because this movie is well written. There is moments where I think we had like a 15-minute segment in a car, and it's nothing but dialogue, and we're switching from 2 shots. You're just, well, not listening, but you're just reading the subtitles. And I was like blown away. I was like, this is so resonating well with me. Everything like about the screenplay deals with loss and when it comes to mourning. And I don't want to get too personal on this channel, but that's something I can kind of relate to. And so I don't know, this is a movie a lot of people can relate to and really like unless if they've lost someone close to them. But this movie really hit me on a level I did not expect it to. I really loved it. The performances, every performance was so good. It was a very, like, it felt like, almost like this movie was almost kind of made, not for me, but it's my kind of movie if I were to get in, watch an awards movie. Very long, every second justified, emotionally resonant, and kind of has an interesting concept because you see them go through these rehearsals in place, but you almost see this full psychological state of how it took to get these things done for these characters. And it was really, it's very interesting to see how these characters think, and I really loved this movie from beginning to end. But coming into number 1 is obviously gonna be Dune. I love this movie. I've seen it 8+ times. I can't stop watching it. Denis Villeneuve should have been nominated for Best Director. I'm still not over that. I'm never gonna be over that. I'm still not over Ludwig Göransson being snubbed last year for Tenet. I'm not over that, and I don't think I ever will be over that on that snub. I really care about score, and that's where Dune also delivers. So Dune has a phenomenal score by Hans Zimmer. The only thing that's lacking for this to not be like top 10 of all time for me is that the emotion isn't as strong as it could have been, because we have so much strong emotion in some of Denis' other movies, and this is not my favorite Denis Villeneuve movie. Some people are saying it's their favorite, but to me it's not. Like, I think I prefer Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, Prisoners, and then this one closely after, but those movies were a lot more emotionally resonant than this one. That's why my hopes for part 2 are really high, because now we're in the meat of the story. All this setup is done. We're getting the meat of it. Hopefully we get a little bit more emotional standpoints from it, and hopefully we just get everything else from the visuals, and it will be a masterful film, part 2. But this movie had to set up a lot, and it is, the only thing that's holding it back is that it's a setup movie. You have so much to set up, and that's why people are so afraid to adapt to Dune. And so that's why I almost respect it even more that they're daring to even try to do a 2-parter for this story. So I'm very excited what they do next with this. And that's maybe part of why I like Dune so much, because I think it perfectly set up a sequel without feeling almost like Marvelized to like setting up a sequel, because we're so used to the Marvel way of setting up sequels. This movie like almost just kind of laid the path for it within the movie without making it blaringly obvious. And this movie is just so well made. The cinematography is gorgeous. It's amazingly edited. I love Dune, and it's the best film of last year, and it will be a dream for this to win Best Picture. If it does win Best Picture, I will I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might faint. I don't know, but I don't think it will. I think, well, you'll see what I think in my best picture video when you guys can see, well, my prediction videos once you guys can see who I think will win and who I think well, you saw my awards. You will see who I think should win, but I also will tag it in the prediction video, just maybe for a quick second or so, say, I think this person should get it. So yeah. Anyways, that is my ranking. Comment down below what you guys' ranking is. I'm very curious to see what you guys think of my placement, particularly of some certain films. I know this is not the right list. There's bias in here. And what can I say? I'm a person. Every person's biased. So yeah. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, and stuff like that. And adios.